So let's move closer to the Thailand. Just June this year, almost you probably heard the news about a ghost net. A ghost net, the fishing gear like cover the Losin coral reef, which is one of the biggest parts of the coral reef in Thailand. And actually, Losin is over 70 kilometers from the mainland, and that huge big patch of fishing gear was tangled there. There, that incident give a right time evidence to government to announce that the Losin Island is to be one of the marine protected area. So right now, I'm so happy to hear that ADMAC and also IUCN joined together to launch the marine citizen science to help tackle this problem in terms of like tracking the biodiversity and also launch the protocol how to get the net back without like harming the environment. So today, helping are with me are two ladies, Supacha Japakong, and instructor Temi from EDMAC, and also Siaram Siripon, Senior Program Officer, Marine and Coastal from IUCN Thailand, to share with us about their project, MARSCI, a citizen science protocol to understand the impact of derelict fishing gear. Please, everyone, welcome them.
Thank you so much, Nikki, and hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I would like to thank you guys for joining our talk. So today I'm going to talk about the Marine Science Citizens Initiative, and I will introduce you to what MARSCI is and why do we need it. And I also will give you the big picture of the net collecting protocol. After that, I will hand it to my colleague Vivi from IUCN to continue the next part. So let's begin. What is MARSCI? So Marine Science Citizens Initiative, we aim at bridging people between recreational communities and also the academics in Thailand to tackle on the challenge of encouraging everyone to share information or observations on marine observations and also the organisms that they found in the oceans. And those data can be provided to scientists and NGO who are working on research or conservation. So as Rahul mentions, especially in Thailand, the social media platforms such as Facebook group is very active and easy to access. So we see that as an opportunity to gather those observations. So why do we need it? Before we start, I would like to introduce you to some history of the derelict fishing gear first. Some of you might have heard this word, or some of you might have not. But if I mention about ghost fishing gear, I think most of you guys would be more familiar. The ghost fishing gear was first identified and investigated 40 years ago, but still lacks of data. Due to the increasing of ecological and economic impacts, that is one of the reasons why we should concern about it. And the cause of discarded and derelict fishing gears, it can be unintentionally or deliberately disposed due to the poor disposal facilities and unaffordable, also with the poor regulations and policy enforcement. And once the gear is discarded in the ocean, it's also hard to locate it where it is and also hard to collect it back. And those gear can entangle marine organisms such as fish, reptiles, and mammals. So the type of entanglement is also vary between animal groups. As you can see, a quarter of seabirds, half of all seals, and a third of all whales. They also got effects from the living fishing gears, including 7 species of marine turtle. Even the top predators, such as sharks, they also show high mortality when there is entanglement. So from this picture, you can see how sad it is. And yeah, also on coral reef too, those fishing gears can cause a direct tissue damage and also fragmentation, which is basically breaking corals into pieces. And the net or the fishing gear itself can also cause a complex microbe community, and it can lead infections or disease on corals. And it's a perfect place for biofouling organisms to settle down and then outcompete corals. From the picture, you can see that the hooks and the net can easily entangle with the corals and can damage them. So in Thailand, there are a few investigations have been carried out, but mostly in commercial sector, and they found out that the strong currents and poor weather are the main factors that cause this problem. We can also see the previous studies and incidents in Got Tao, Got Manai, and Got Losin too. So the protocol. In this part, this protocol was designed for scuba divers who has a prior training in scuba diving, of course, and also they also have to be able to identify the marine species and also knows how to remove the discarded fishing gear safely. This is the overview of the 5-step. We're going to start with the first one, preliminary data. So in this step, we have to collect these data, which are the number, the depth that we found the gears, and the types of the gear. It can be net, rope, or fishing lines, and also the substrate that the gear was most entangled with. So it can be sand, rocks, corals, or sponge. And the second step is safety assessment. Before we actually collect the net or the gear, we also have to look if there's any harmful materials or not by using visual inspection followed by physical inspections. The third can be biotics such as pufferfish or stubbornfish, as you see in the pictures, or it can be a biotic such as hook or any sharp materials. And the third step is to identify what types of animal is entangled with the gears and how many of them. In this step, you also have to look if it's either living animals or dead animals. You can see the picture of the example snakes on the right corner. On the fourth step, this one is safe removal. So we suggest to remove the net or the gear as a single piece or as few as possible. It's not only easier for the data collection, but also decrease the chance that you're gonna lose the net or the lines. So in this step, you can also remove the entangled marine organisms too. The last step is measurement and notes. So in this step, the divers have to measure the size of the gear underwater in a metric system. And the way that we measure it is also depends on the types of the gear. So if it's like a simple piece like fishing lines or rope, we can just simply measure it single length. But if it's a complex piece like net, you also have to measure the maximum length and the maximum width. So this is the picture of the slide, how it looked like underwater, all the data that the diver has to collect. And all the protocols and the steps, anything can be found on the MARSCI group on Facebook too. So in the next step, I would like to hand it to Baby. So thank you.
Thank you, Ka. So let me share my slides. Okay, once you conduct the MARSCI protocol and observe all the data, you can submit the data in the several channels. So for photos, you can submit to our Facebook group, MARSCI. You can also scan the QR code here. You can post pictures and video and location as you wish. And for the data, in the slate that you record from the trip, please submit it to admec@lovewildlife.org. We have Raul and team kindly to conduct the analysis of the data information, and we plan to make the data public available to the public on the annual basis. And we also would like to emphasize too, like we not recommend, for the safety to remove the net. Is it really big? You should inform and contact the government of Thailand, Department of Marine and Coastal Resort on the site that you saw the post here. And in terms of the data management and outputs, I've mentioned before that IUCN partner with ADMEC, and we also partner with another platform, Business and Biosphere Network Alliance. So there will be 3 main channels that this data will be made available to the public. And the MARSCI project will be created under ADMEC website. And for the IUCN, as this project, the MARSCI is part of the IUCN Close the Plastic Tap program, because as Raul and Nong Ploy already mentioned before, that we do not have this type of data available. So it will be very useful to see that 1 year from now, what is the site and location where animals are trapped in the net, and and be analyzed in a scientific way. And another platform that we would like to share, because people, different site is for different group of people. ADMEC, I think you have a lot of followers who are more scientific group, and IUCN we have more the non-profit organization. And this platform is the Business and Biosphere Network Alliance. So far we have 17 companies as a member, so they can also this layer will be public for anyone. So I think through these 3 channels we can raise awareness about the impact of ghost here on the biodiversity. And this picture I just wanted to share, IUCN recently released a report as well, the leakage of the plastic to the ocean. But because we only rely on the secondary data, so we cannot understand really, clearly how is it on the field, especially on the provincial details. And last week, I have a meeting with the iNaturalist Thailand Alliance, where Khun Utain also part of that as well. And he kindly give me an example of the netting and trapping tools group in the iNaturalist. And I think that we could actually, share the MARSCI project as well in the iNaturalist, so that we asking people to submit, picture of animal that trapped in the ghost gear. And I think that would be very interesting next step forward. And so in terms of the future application that I would like to emphasize again, citizen science is very important, because because if the diver, right, you are the researcher, you just alone, you just 2 eyes, 2 hands. But if you can tell your friend who normally go to diving anywhere, say hey, normally in your one trip you do 2 dive or 4 dive. If you can talk with your dive master and share this too, and dedicate one trip, 1 dive or 2 dive on your trip to record this data information. And I think people will get the reward back as well, that they just not only dive for recreation but also contributing to science. And in end of this month, together with ADMEC team and the Department of Marine Coastal Resort and a few partners, we will be conducting the MARSCI Citizen Science 2 at ADMEC Center as well. So we hope that to have an official rolling out this tool to all the researchers and all the dive shop in Thailand. And we also share this tool to our Vietnam team at IUCN, so it will be translating in Vietnamese as well. So if you would know anyone in other country that would like to adopt this protocol to be used in other country, please feel free to contact either IUCN or ADMEC team. Yeah, and as of now, we already have reached out to existing partner to take the lead to promote the citizen side too. So ADMEC have the base in Rayong, so they will be the one who be the co-lead. And in Got Tao, Rak Thai and Biofin project will help spread this tool with the dive shop. And then it will be we partner with Nature My Education and Coral and Green Guardian to help promote this tool. The more people use it, the more better information we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivi. Thank you, Chloe, for sharing your MARSCI, the project and protocol.